guys, welcome back to my channel. So I have for you part 2 of the Camel Page in this amazing Worlds of Wonder. I did a video for this part because it's kind of the main tent. However, I had a snafu with my camera and accidentally deleted all the files that went with this. So I used Faber-Castell and like a glitter gel pen, and I can tell you I do remember that for the yellow I used brown ochre and cream and ivory, I believe. Those are the main ones, I believe. For this one though, I remember the denim. I did a sky blue and dark indigo and a little white, and that's the thing that I was like most blown away with. It looks like denim, but yeah, I was really upset that, and even my husband couldn't find him. So there's that. I'm sorry, guys. You know, things happen, and we just kind of have to make the best of it. So for today, I'm gonna do I'm gonna do this main blanket area, and if the video hasn't run too long, then I will maybe start on another part of it. But I'm gonna try to keep this so that it's not going too long, because I don't really, you know, want to speed it up. So I am using Kohlnoor. Hold on a second. And I do apologize. I have trouble. Hardtmuth, that's it. This I believe is the other language that it's in. But yeah, this is the pencil. Oops, sorry. That is the pencil. Let's see if I can get in there. Kohlnoor Hardtmuth. I love these pencils. They are a poly-based pencil. They're very good. They are not a budget pencil, but they're not a high-end pencil. They're kind of in the middle of the road. So to just show you really quick, these are the tritone ones, but these are kind of the rest of them real quick. So I don't have a case. I'm sorry. A lot of times I put mine into cases like this, and then I sometimes have the box and sometimes I don't. But yeah, these are the rest of them. So, and FYI, I did a video on these. It's very interesting. I think I did anyway. Yeah, I did. So, let's get to it. I picked out some colors in my handy dandy little case, which I picked up at the Dollar Tree. Isn't that cool? The only drawback is that when they get too small, then they kind of don't, this part doesn't keep them upright. So that's the only drawback. So let's see. Make sure everything's good. There we go. Hi. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to start with eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It's so hard to decide. Let's just pick what's gonna go with the best with the tent, because the tent is right up next to it. So we want this and this to kind of, at least in the beginning, transition to something else. You know, we don't want a complete disconnect, right? So I picked out some colors last night, as you saw, but I decided to just decide on the fly. So using the handy dandy color wheel, which helped me pick out my colors. This thing is amazing. It helps a lot. I mean, it's just kind of incredible. So if I look at the denim and the brown, the denim is kind of about here, and that beautiful almost gold is kind of over here somewheres. So basically I want to kind of find something that they both go to. So I'm going to point my thing properly because I wasn't. There we go. There we go. Make sure your little arrows, and see how this and the triangle, the smaller triangle, not the big one, goes back over to the blue. See the little one with the dashes? That's why they go together so good. So I could pick something in this vicinity, which I have. So there we go. See how easy that is? So I'm going to look for my blue violet, or bluish violet. Ta-da! See how easy it was? So this is 179. And I apologize if you hear any mowing in the background. I mean, I do have my TV on, but if you hear any mowing, I'm sorry. It's mowing day. We rent and they mow on Tuesdays. So, except during the pandemic, man, the grass got long for a while. Oh, that was not okay. Oh, that looks really nice with the silver and the teal. But then again, that's where they are on the color wheel. Oh, I'm going too hard with this. That's another thing I forget sometimes. Bad habits do die hard. I can tell that I was coloring too hard, because with polys, if you color too hard, you will leave really hard marks, color marks that are difficult to blend in. You know, I'm not sure. That goes pretty good. I like that. I just kind of was coloring too hard before I caught myself. See, I'm not perfect. You know, I trip over my words, and sometimes I screw things up a little bit, you know, but I'd like to think that's kind of what makes me a work in progress, much like a lot of my pictures. I gotta hold that back a little bit more. Sometimes it's hard to hold it far back enough when you're doing a tight area, and you really just then have to be very aware of what you're doing. I know this lacks depth at the moment. I'm going to fix that. If I go quiet, it's just because I'm concentrating. So, I'll put this back. Now, to add a little depth, I think I'm going to see if I have my dark indigo. Let's see. Prussian blue, exactly. I'll show you. Yeah, this is not sharpened enough. Hold on, guys. I did not sharpen that at all. Oh. Oh. Alright, hold on. This is probably one of the best sharpeners ever made. Really is. Prussian blue and bluish violet are what I'm mixing. And the Prussian is 20. Grab my eraser, place part into reach. Oh. I see something that is just straight up bugging me. Sorry about that, guys. I had to. It was just totally bugging me. See, by adding this Prussian blue, I'm further tying this into that. I think the dark indigo resembles the Prussian blue quite a bit. Let's grab the Blueish Violet, make sure I got the right one. Yeah, the Kohlnoors, or the Hardtmuths, they come, even though I bought this in a set, they came with the barcode on them and the name and number. So, and then the company name. They're capped, they're pretty nice. I'm just blending the two out at the moment. That looks pretty good. So now, using the handy dandy color wheel, I'm going to find a color to go that will tie all these in. So I'm looking at my purple and my blue, which are right here. Oops, sorry, I probably couldn't see. And I want something that's going to complement that, and maybe just a little of that, but not as much. And oops, make sure this is pointed where I want it to be. Ta-da! There we go. wrong way. There we go. So, I'm thinking kind of one of my yellows. See, because the big triangle doesn't go to those, but it goes the smaller triangle, which points to here, but then kind of goes to here. That should work. So, let's grab the handy dandy. Oops, I'm gonna have to fix this. You know, thinking about it, I'm not so sure. Ugh, because the yellow doesn't really go with the yellow doesn't. Oh, dang it. Sorry, I'm trying to put this stupid thing away. The yellow doesn't really go with that, so. I think an orange would look great. Yep. Yeah, that was a good choice. They're a little more together on the color wheel. And see, it's for a reason. That looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is bring in a darker orange. Guys. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. The mowers were right up against, right near the house, and I'm just like, oh man. Yeah, I really didn't think you guys wanted to hear that. You know, one little tip when you're doing small areas like this is either short little strokes, and I'm only using maybe a medium pressure at best. That's because I'm trying to blend these out. It's either short little strokes or tiny little circles. I believe they call the tiny little circles, they call them scrumbling. Which, okay. I don't know who came up with that, but okay, that's what it's officially called. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I kind of like that. So I'm gonna do one little more tweak, and this is Pyro Red. 60, and I'm just gonna go in with this at the very top just for a little depth, and maybe a little along the side, just for a little bit of depth. You don't want too much of this in this case, just a little goes a long way. You see how much that adds a lot of depth to it. I don't claim to be like a full-on expert when it comes to things like reflective light and all this other jazz. I don't claim to be an expert on that. I am still very much a student in some things, but this is one thing I know. How to add depth with shading. That's one thing I'm pretty good at. And I still need to work on backgrounds. Oh, yikes. I tried a background for a Mariola page I did, and the background, it was a disaster. I was just like, I was trying to do a water scene, and it just did not. I was not at all happy with it. I mean, the image itself looks great, but the background, man, I need work. I need work on backgrounds, like big time. Oh, the mowers are back. Jeez, guys, I'm sorry. I hope sincerely that you do not hear that. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Kind of thought they were done. And I'm going back in with this white very sort of gently, not super gently, but a little bit, just to kind of blend it back in a little bit. And I'm not pushing very hard. I think I'm going to go in that the end of this purple too. Alright, moving on. I think I'm going to use these. I decided based on the color wheel that I think these would look good for that part of the blanket. So I'm going to start with the lightest that's not the white. And I believe, make sure I put on my glasses here, 22. And it is Yellowish Green. Ta-da! Oop, there we go. So, I'm going to go in. And I'm even though I'm holding it close to the end of the pencil, I'm not coloring with a hard hand at all. I am light to medium at best, a bit, mostly more light than medium. And it takes a lot of focus to be able to hold the pencil this close to the end and not go, you know, all hardcore with it. It takes a lot. Takes a lot of concentration, honestly, for me. I mean, how many of you guys are the same way? Like, people that are super professionals, and you know, genuine artists like Monia Gates, and professional colorists like Belinda, you know, they you know, they do things with relative ease that I could never do if I concentrated till the cows came home. You know, I am definitely a work in progress, and I just want to take you guys on the journey with me as I continue to learn, as I have over the past, well, technically 2 years, but it's really a year and a half. It's been quite a year. A lot of drama, both within family and in the world. There's just been a lot of drama, and I can't speak for a lot of my fellow subscribers and people out there on the internet that have had it rougher than me. God bless y'all. I think we've all had a time. Now I'm bringing this, where is it? Grass green, 379. I want to make sure I read that right. I'm gonna bring that in just a little bit for it on the outside for some depth. Depth is so important. Like, I may stink at backgrounds, but I'm pretty good at doing depth and shading, and this is really important. And the nice thing about these Hardtmuth pencils is that like a Faber Poly, you don't really need to turn it as often to maintain that even point, and you don't need to color. You must use a light hand, because if you use a hard hand, as I said before, and repeat it as often as needed, you see where I did it a little bit too heavy there, and it caused it to lay down quite heavily. That's what you're gonna get if you use especially a poly pencil. You will get that heavy lay down of color. These pencils are very pigmented, much like a Faber-Castell. They're very similar, honestly. They're probably more similar than the Fabers and the Burtfinders. These pencils behave very, very much like a Faber-Castell poly would. And honestly, I mean, this isn't a review or comparison, but it can be a little. I would say that these are probably the closest thing that there is to a Faber polychromos pencil. These Hardtmuth pencils are so close to the Faber polys. I mean, they're not quite as vibrant, but they're still pretty darn good. I mean, they're a little bit less expensive, So if you can do better than a budget pencil like the Burtfinders are, and you can level up just a little bit, these are a great pencil. They come, if I remember my tutorial correctly, they come in a set of, I believe, 72. This is, I think, the biggest set. It's been a minute since I did the tutorial, so I have to kind of think about it. Trust me, when you get to be my age, you have to think twice about a lot of things. Trust me. And I'm going back in with this Yellowish Green, just to kind of blend it out a little bit more. Those two look really nice. Wow. And they're pretty opaque too. They're like the Fabers in that way also, is that they're very opaque. Now, I don't know about the light fastness on these. I have no idea. That I do not know, and I'm not going to pretend to know. For me, it's just a non-issue. I don't care. I color for anxiety relief and for fun, mental stimulation, emotional stimulation, and sobriety. I am a recovering alcoholic, and this sort of thing, and doing my YouTube channel does wonders for all of those things. So this is dark green 46, and I'm going to go back in even more to the corner very gently. And this does take a lot of concentration to not press down when you're holding it this close. It really does. For me anyway. It takes a lot of mental concentration. I have to hold it close to the end because I'm doing a very tiny spot. So I love this page so much. It just begs. I love how she leaves certain pages, especially like this, with a lot of negative space so that people can fill in their own backgrounds if they want to, or if not, they don't have to. You see, now some have their own backgrounds. I saw somebody do this page, and they put little lawns in front of each and around each of them. It was the coolest little thing I have ever seen. It almost turned it, they turned it into like this little neighborhood, and they even put some more little trees in it. I was just like, people get so wildly creative with these things. I absolutely love it. I, however, just, yeah, I stink at backgrounds. It is not my forte yet. I have positive vibes that eventually I'm gonna pick that up. And I'm using a little more pressure here. Now I'm going to go back in one more time with this yellowish green, which is one of my favorite colors I might add. I'm using a medium pressure. Because I'm basically kind of blending it out a little bit. Excuse me for 1 second. That was weird. I wonder where that came from. Alrighty then. Now I'm gonna grab the white. Make sure you guys can still see. Okay. I ain't got no one to tell me I'm out of frame, so. And I'm using this white just in the middle a little bit. Just at my very lightest area. There we go. Doesn't that look gorgeous, guys? So, moving on. Sorry. Okay, so for the inside part of this green area, I have chose these blues and yellows, and the reason why is because of, again, where they are on the color wheel. If you look at these, I'm trying to get kind of in order. Yeah, there we go, there we go. Alright. If you look at them here on the color wheel, you see that the yellows hover between this one is like a kind of an orange yellow, and then these other two hover here. So if I turn my little thing, let's say I turn it over this way, even. Oops, you stupid thing. There we go. Alright. You see that both the big triangle, which is the triad color combinations, and then the smaller triangle, skinnier one, are the complementaries and split complementaries. So if you look at the yellows, blues are right over here. So see that? Magic. It's magic. So let's have at it. Now I'm gonna put this over here so my pencils don't like roll off my freaking desk. Hold on, there we go. It's a problem. I have a very old, crappy desk. I don't have a nice studio that I like want to show you guys. I just don't have the money for stuff like that. So enough about that. Let's see. I'm going to grab Banana Yellow. I love the name of this pencil. Banana Yellow. I love it. I'm just going to do this part a little bit. And while I'm holding it near the end, again, I'm concentrating on how much pressure I'm using. It does, as I said before, it takes a lot of concentration. That's why, you know, after I do a video, sometimes I'm really exhausted because I'm concentrating so hard on making sure that I show you guys, you know, good technique. Oh, excuse me. TV got loud. I'm sorry about that. Some people like music. Me, I like to have the TV on in the background. You know, like some game show or something like that. That doesn't really demand my attention. What do you guys like to do with your coloring? Do you like to just have nothing on? Do you like music, or do you like the TV? What do you guys like to do? Usually I color on my drawing board, but lately I've found that with my books, it's especially the bigger ones like these, it's just too hard to have it on the drawing board. I have, you know, rubber bands to keep it in place, but it's just a real pain. I'm seriously debating taking this book apart. I have a backup copy, which I thought about doing this big tent in, but I don't know. I just decided that I'm just going to tell you guys kind of what I did, which I did, and just move on. I hate it when things like that happen, you know, it just drives me nuts. I'm really new to the editing process, so, you know, stuff sometimes happens. I like my new neighbors. I have new neighbors to the one side of me, and I like them, but man, their dogs just bark. They're nice, seem like nice dogs, but they bark a lot, and it just absolutely drives me crazy. I don't know. I like my peace and quiet. You know, my kids are gone. They're grown. I like my peace and quiet. Of course, I have a grandchild on the way. Woo! These pencils are so amazing. Like I said before, they're really opaque. And again, I don't know what the light fastness rating is. That is information I do not know. I don't think it says. You know what? Let's take a quick look. See if it says. Made in the Czech Republic, apparently, which I remember seeing that. Yeah, I don't see anything that says that information. But if anybody wants me to, I can, I'm sure, look it up. Oh, and this chrome yellow, which is one of my favorite colors in this set. I absolutely love it. I like chrome yellow, period. But in the favor and then the this Hardtmuth, I like it. It's very opaque. It's really bright. I love it. Alright. I'm going to go back in for a little depth. Just on the very outer, like right along the line, almost, but not quite. And this is, oh yeah, I forgot, I'm sorry, this is gold ochre. Ta-da! Oops, there we go. A little bit down this way. I'm using short little strokes here, so I'm using maybe medium pressure. I really like how this is coming out so far. I used Holbeins mostly on this one, that one back there, and I kind of regret it. The Holbeins to me really don't, from my experimentation, they really don't do too well in this kind of paper. But then again, you don't want super toothy paper either, because then it just chews them up. So I would say for the Holbeins, this kind of paper, they're a little too soft. They need like a medium type of paper where there's a little bit of tooth but not a lot, and not something that's like super smooth either, because then you just get wax spoons super easy. So something like a medium toothy paper, like a modest create space kind of paper would do well, or a medium grade Strathmore. Something like that is really the best. This it came up, but only I had to tweak it a lot, and I had to add some other pencils in. So it really wasn't my favorite thing to use in this book, this type of book. Now I'm going to go back in with my white, which is over here. I forgot to pull it out. And I'm using short little strokes, just light to medium pressure. Sometimes I'm scrumbling too. I'm kind of mixing that technique up a little bit. This is just kind of blending the colors out a little bit. The white is pretty opaque for, you know, white. It's actually the coverage. These pencils really are excellent. Honestly, I highly recommend them. They are a mid-level grade pencil. So, moving on. And I will probably stop for today at this because I don't want the video to run too long. I know that that's something that probably isn't a good thing. You know, not everybody has all day to sit and just watch people color. So, oh, that looks really nice. This is Ice Blue. This is also one of my favorite colors. I absolutely love this color. As you can see, it goes really nice with that yellow because, ta-da, here, and follow the arrow, bam. Somewhere between here and here. You could also put it here. And it goes right here. And that's why it looks so nice. This is all very much of a cool palette, which is another reason why it looks so nice. This tint was more of a warm palette. And that's why I started with something that was in between warm and cool, which is kind of the orange and the bluish violet. And I've moved from that into something that's very, very cool with just a hint of warmth right on the edges. And that way it kind of ties it in. You don't want to just use super, super bright like on everything. I've seen pictures like that, and to me, those kind of pictures really hurt my eyes. My eyes have no place to rest. So if you're, like, say this is very much mostly cool, but with that hint of warmth, it gives your eyes some place to sort of rest a little bit from the brightness. And the same thing with here. It's mostly warm, but then there's that pop of cool right in here and here and up here. So your eyes kind of have someplace to settle when you do just like super bright or super, you know, dull, matte, whatever. Your eyes just kind of, your brain just can't handle it. Like for me, my brain can't handle it when it's just one or the other. So that's just a little tip, you know. I like color just as much as, you know, anybody else, but I am a firm believer in balance. And if you have balance in your picture, you have order, you're gonna, you know, come out with a much better picture. Now I started with the light at the top, but I'm kind of going over it a little bit, just a little, with this dark, because I decided that I wanted it to be a little bit, I wanted to use the light as depth. Normally I kind of go the other way, but I decided to do it this way because I had the light on the yellow here, so I kind of want my top part to be a little darker, but yet still light. So you'll see what I'm going to do, and I'm going to pop in some white maybe, or some more of the ice blue. I haven't decided. Now, let me go grab that white. Oh, I forgot to tell you what I was using. This was dark azure blue. My apologies on that. And this was sapphire blue. Sorry about that. Oh, also make sure your tip is clean, especially if you're using white. Just noticed there was stuff in the end. Now I'm going to go back in with, let's see, the dark blue azure. Just using light pressure. And just continuing to add a little depth. I find with the darker colors, you have to be really careful about your depth because things show up a little bit more when they're brighter. Like darker but brighter. I know that makes no sense. Like the yellow is just bright. It's just straight up bright. But with these darker, they're dark but they're bright. They tend to show up. What you do tends to show up a little bit more. Trying to sort of cover up these little dots. Alright, go back in with a little white again. I need to sharpen this. Hold on for your watch ears. Wow, that thing sounds like it's dying, honestly. Sorry, guys. I need to get a new one. My Dolly 133 is dying too. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I had to answer a phone call from my daughter who's expecting my grandson. Anyway, so this is basically what I've done for today is the purple and the orange, and then right here. I'm going to do the rest of this probably off camera, and I will upload it with this video so that it doesn't run too extra long. Stay safe and have a blessed one, guys.